Hello everyone, welcome to Business Analytics Programming. This is week 5. In the first 4 weeks of our course, we have learned the cloud environment and tried to learn Python and write Python code in the cloud environment. The cloud environment has a lot of advantages. For example, it uses the browsers to access everything. That's definitely the future look for all the programming and analytics in enterprise environment. And it requires zero maintenance from the user because everything is taken care of, and the user once the user has a browser, it can access all the functions, and it is easy deployment at the enterprise level. But for our community edition, the Databricks Community Edition, some of the functions of Python are not included. So I believe in the full version in the Databricks, those functions are part of can be achieved by using the browser system. So when it compared to the cloud environment, we also have the option to use the local version. So you can download and install Python into your own computer. So no matter you have internet access or not, you can always write your Python code and learn Python by yourself. In this week's lecture, we're going to go through how to install a particular version of the Python distribution into your local computer. So for the local version, user has full control and the full function of Python. And the downside is user has to take care of installation, setup, and update. It is actually used to be a very tedious work, especially for new users to programming, because in the past you have to install Python and the relative difficult to collect all the packages that you will need for the business analytics applications. But now there is actually a near maintenance-free Python distribution which include the Python itself as well as all the needed packages. It also has a notebook ready for you to use. It's very similar to the cloud environment, but it is actually running the cloud with your own computer. So in today's kind of instruction, I'm going to show you how to download and install this near maintenance-free Python distribution. This particular Python distribution is called Anaconda. It is a comprehensive Python distribution with essential packages. The first step is we can go to this link right here, and this is where the Anaconda's official website is. The second step, once you go to that web page, you're going to see something like those showing below. The second step is click on the right operating system of the computer, of your computer. So there are for Windows, for Mac, and for Linux. In my computer, it is a Windows 7 machine. So I'm going to use the Windows operating system as an example in the following slides to show you how to install Anaconda. If you are using a different version of Windows or using the Mac operating system, it will be pretty much the same, but it will be some slightly different kind of windows and options to choose. Again, so I'm going to be using my computer with a Windows 7 machine to show how to download and install Anaconda. So once you click your computer's operating system, in this case, I'm going to click this Windows icon here. The next step will be showing like those. So even for Windows machine, I have to choose whether my machine is 46-bit or 32-bit. machine, and then I can choose accordingly. For most of the recent computers that has been manufactured, it is already nearly all of them are 64 bits machine. But if you are not sure whether your computer is a 64 or 32-bit machine, what you can do is you can actually in the Windows 7 system, what you can do is to right click on your computer icon, and then left click on the property. It's going to show a Windows like pop-up like those. So here it has the system types. In this particular one, what I have is a 64-bit operating system. Once you know your machine is a 64-bit machine, and then you can choose this Python 3.5 version to install. And again, Python has two major versions. One is Python 2.7 and the other is Python 3.5. For some historical reason, Python 3.5 and Python 2.7 are actually not compatible with each other. So there's still a large portion of the community is still using Python 2.7. But for us, let's choose Python 3.5. Okay, once we have the Python 3.5 version for 64-bit of the operating system, click this one right here, and then we're going to the next step. Once you click the button in the previous page, actually the download is already started. But you can you probably is also going to see a pop-up window, which is like a thank you for downloading Anaconda, and if you want some cheat sheet about this how to use Anaconda, you can put in your work email and then click this button. But for me, I just choose click on the no thanks, which basically close this window. But again, it is your copy of the Anaconda is already being downloaded, so this page is not related to the download. The download is already started, but it's going to take a few minutes to download the file. So be patient until the downloading has finished. Okay, so after a little while, so some of the operating system, the program maybe the installation program may automatically start, but in my case it is not. What I only see is the file is actually downloaded into my local machine. So what I have to go is my download folder. That's where it's a basically default place where anything you download from the internet is going to be stored to. Then I'm going to see this Anaconda blah 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 .exe file, which is basically the installation file. What I need to do next is double click on this exe file. Then it's going to pop up a window mentioning do we want to install this file, and do we want to run this file, and then click run, and then the installation is actually it's going to start. When the installation starts, then there are a few different steps you need to choose. So in all cases, it's all default. Do not change any of those options. You just click next, agree, and next, and install. So after you finish those 5 windows, it's actually start the installation process. The installation is going to take a little while, 10 to 20 minutes depending on your computer. So be patient and wait it finish the installation and show the next screen. Do not interrupt the installation process. It may take 10 to 20 minutes. Once it's finished, it's going to show a screen in the next page like those. So basically, it mentions installation complete, and then you can click next. Then it's going to show thanks for installing Anaconda, and then you can actually uncheck this one. When you check this one, that's fine. It's going to lead you to another web page, but that's fine. And then click finish. Then the Anaconda installation is finished. Once you've finished installing Anaconda, the next step is going to actually write. How do I run a kind of Anaconda? This is basically a Python distribution. What you will need to do is once you install the Anaconda, then it's going to show a folder in your all program location. So in Windows, there's the start button, and then this all program. You're going to see that Anaconda is showed up here, newly installed. You click on this Anaconda 3, then you're going to see all the potential ways to open a particular Anaconda component, which include a Jupyter Notebook. That is where we're going to use most often. So those are all different kind of applications from Anaconda, but the one that we're going to use most is the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, if you see all those, which means your installation is successful. Okay, now the installation is successful. Let's run Anaconda, a particular distribution of Python. We're going to exclusively using this Jupyter Notebook because it is very similar to the cloud environment that we have been using for the next 4 weeks. Okay, to start the Jupyter Notebook, just click on the Jupyter Notebook line here. It's actually going to show you a black window, and wait a few seconds. And when you see this black window, this is basically the back end of the the notebook. So it will take a little while, and then it's going to initiate the notebook as the back end, and leave this command window open. Do not close it until you want to finish your notebook. So this is the back end. It's running. But the front end of the Jupyter notebook is actually automatically opened a page in your browser, in your default browser. If you're using Chrome, then your Chrome is going to be turned on, and then there will be one page show up in your Chrome browser as the Jupyter homepage. So that is basically the front end of the notebook. It will be opened from your default browsers. Then that's the back end, that's the front end. Do not close those two windows, and because that's an indication of yes, you're ready to open a Jupyter notebook to do Python analysis. Okay, then how to open a Python notebook? So in your front end, where this page is created from your default browser, you can see there are different 3 different kind of pieces, but it's right here on the top right corner. There's a new icon. You click on the new icon, it's going to show you a few different kind of options, and click on this Python root. Click new, and then click on this Python root. Okay, so once you click on the Python root, it is going to create another page, and another tab in your default browser, and this is the home. The home is something like those. You click a new and Python root, you're going to create a new page. This is actually your notebook, the Python notebook. So this is very similar or almost identical to the Databricks Community Edition, where you can actually write your own Python code in the cell and write. And so you can notice it is set untitled because they just opened a new one. So you can click on the untitled piece right here. This this red in this red circle, you click on the Untitled, then a pop-up window will open, ask you for a new name. So you can change this new name, for example, to Homework 04. That's you can click on this right here to change the title, and there are a few different kind of places you can play with. For example, this is save the notebook and the file and edit. If you click on those menu, you're going to see different functions. So this is the cell. That is, you are already very familiar with the cell because in our Databricks Community Edition, it is the same thing. So within the cell, you can write your Python code and write. Then to run a cell, just use Control Enter, and the same thing as the Databricks Community Edition. If you want to run a cell and go to the next cell or create a new cell below, just use Shift plus Enter. And then you're going to actually not only write but go to the next cell. If it is already at the bottom, if this cell is already at the bottom, it's going to create a new cell for you. So you can actually, in the insert menu here, you can insert a cell below, above, and below. So it's very similar to the Databricks Community Edition. And then, like for example, I changed the my notebook name to be Homework 01, and then in this file, actually I can create a new Python notebook. For example, I want Homework 02 or Exercise 03, then I can open a few different new windows. So within that window, if I want to save my notebook, I can actually in the file, and there's a save and checkpoint. So that's going to save the notebook. And once you have your code and result, similar as what we did in the Databricks Community Edition, you can actually download or export your result, the notebook, into different file format. For example, if you click on the file, if you click on the file and download as, there are a few different versions of the file that you can create. And let's choose HTML, which is basically what we used in the past. You click on this one, whatever you run in your notebook will be saved as a HTML file, which include the source code as well as the result. Okay, so basically that's it. For example, I put in what we learned just a couple of weeks ago. Use the for loop to print a particular list. So it is exactly the same as what we did in Databricks Community Edition. We write the Python code here. We click. We use the Shift and Enter. It's going to run, and this is the running result. And then remember to save your notebook before you close the browser. So you can click this button, or you can or use the file menu and the save and checkpoint option there. So once you have done with your Python code and save it, then you can close this front end. You can close one particular notebook and you can close the whole thing. And if you finish your task for a particular day, you want to close it, you just close it, use the X at the top corner. And once you close your front end, remember to close your back end as well. This is the command window. You just click right here. It's going to close the back end as well. So after you close the back end, is basically the Python session has been finalized. So that's this brief introduction gave you the exposure of how to install Anaconda and how to create a new notebook and save it, export it, and how to close the Anaconda environment. Okay, that's all the introduction that I have for this week. And for this week, there's no homework. But you need to install the Anaconda into your computer. And we're going to use Anaconda in some weeks in the future. So this is more like an exercise, and you can follow the steps that I showed in the video and the PowerPoint. Download and install Anaconda. Anaconda, again, is a comprehensive collection of packages for a particular Python distribution. It is very popular. So nowadays, very few people actually is going to download each individual Python component. What people usually do is install a comprehensive distribution like Anaconda. Okay, in addition to install the Anaconda into your own computer, we do have a quiz for this week. And the content of the quiz, the questions for the quiz based on the Python knowledge you learned in the past 4 weeks. So it will open from Monday to Sunday, and you can choose any time to take the quiz while it is open during the whole week. You have actually 2 hours to finish the quiz once you start the quiz. The quiz will automatically finish after 2 hours once it is activated. So even though you can choose any time to take the quiz, but once you start the quiz, you only have 2 hours to finish it. And that's it. That's all I have for this week. And good luck on the quiz.